Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of the e-commerce lab by Ecomcy, the place of everything related to Amazon FBA, private level, and e-commerce. My name is Vincenzo Toscano, your host, founder, and CEO of Ecomcy. And today I bring you a brother from life, like Rafael, founder and CEO of Shared Studio, which I strongly believe is pretty much one of the top agencies in the space when it comes to content. And that's why I wanted to bring Rafael. Like, I've been sharing so many amazing memories. We actually met for the first time in person at the online Santa Cruz by Carlos Alvarez. And from that moment, man, we became bros for life. So, Rafa, it's a pleasure to have you in the show, man. How you doing?
Enzo, my friend, thank you so much, hermano.
Yeah.
Let's give a shout out to our friend, my mentor, Dumbledore itself, Carlos Alvarez. Man, I love that man. Super,
He's
super
a
cool.
master.
He is
Yeah.
extremely smart human. He has the largest Amazon seller or e-commerce sellers
Hmm.
group in the world. So shout out to him. And thank you so much for having me, my friend. I really appreciate your kind words. Let's get started, man. People don't like to hear about other
Yeah.
people; they just want to solve the problems.
Yeah. Of course, man. Of course. So, I think let's start with just give us a little bit of background on you because I know you're humble and you don't really, like to say too much, but you have an amazing background. You have done so many things in the commerce space, specifically Amazon. Tell us a little bit about, how Sherry Studio basically entered the space. And what are some of the things you bring in terms of value to Amazon sellers?
Okay, the most important thing I believe is that pr- pretty pictures don't work by itself. Right?
Hmm.
You need data to back it up. You're a data guy. You're a space engineer. You
Rocket
worked for
scientist.
rocket scientist. You are pretty much data driven. A share
Yeah.
studio with data driven. I think that's the most important thing. Do all the contents work 100% of the time? No, it's impossible. Like
Hmm.
Curry only shot publicly like 10% of his shots that he made. Right. So in the back end, he practices 100,000 million shots. So same things for everything. Like it's a trial and error. One plus one does not equal two. What the most important thing is to when you launch, you evaluate and then you adjust. That's I think what the most important thing from Share Studio.
Yeah.
How to enter the space? Well, I'm a filmmaker. Well, I actually studied law. I'm a lawyer. Well, almost a lawyer. I'm
Nice.
not a lawyer. Almost a lawyer. I did 3 years of law, 4 years of law school in Venezuela. I'm from Venezuela originally. I moved to the U.S. in for the first time in 1999. My mom was a
Wow.
diplomat back then. Yeah, a long time ago. And then we just traveled a lot. I'm pretty sure that if a lot of people from the army or army babies, what they're called,
Okay.
is listening to this, I bet they can assimilate that. They can relate to that because there was a lot of traveling growing up. So I went to law school. I hated law school. My dad's a lawyer. And when I was getting out of high school, I was like, Dad, I want to be a rapper.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Your
and
dad was saying like, "What did I do wrong in life, man?"
my dad's like, bro, you are the black sheep of the family. My brother is a mechanical engineer. Um,
Okay.
so so I was like, yeah, I want to be an artist. My dad's like, no, you're not gonna live under a bridge, man. You
Yeah.
will study something that's gonna give you put food on the table at least. And so I was like, okay, what can I do? He's like, well, I went to law school. Law schools, I've been
Mhm.
good for myself. Maybe you can go to law school as well. So I did. I hated it. Um, Fast forward a lot of years, my mom, God bless her heart, she supported me a lot, and I ended up studying, dropping out of law school and studying filmmaking. I started in 2012 an intensive program until 2015. So in the US, it's a 4 year course. In Venezuela, it's
Mhm.
5 years. So it's different. I don't know about in the UK. In the UK, it's
Yeah, in
four or
the
five.
UK it's 4 years. Four.
Four
Yeah.
years as well. Okay, in Venezuela,
Yeah.
it's five. So I did 2 years. I did 4 years and 2 years of filmmaking. I graduated from that. I moved to New York. I moved after New York. I lived in Australia. Then after that, I lived briefly in Moscow. Then after that, like I did a lot of things. Now in Miami, I'm based in Miami, Florida. So in the filmmaking industry, I did a lot of cool stuff. I was first production assistant to Tom Hanks, Uma Thurman from Kill Bill. I
Right.
worked for Red Bull TV. When I was my last job in the filmmaking industry was post production coordinator for not for Rebel TV, sorry, for Nickelodeon Latam.
Nice.
And so one of my boss's best friend, he had he was selling a coffee machine on Amazon, espresso machine. that's very competitive, as you know, and it's like it's very high end as well, like because
Yeah.
coffee, there's a culture to coffee, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it has to look high end. The price has to be right, but either way, coffee is one of the most addictive things in the world. I am so addicted to coffee. Like remember when we were at the
Yeah.
Santa Cruz
Yeah.
and
No, I remember.
we
Me
were
as
like,
well. Like every single
yeah,
10
let's get
minutes, we need a coffee. We need a coffee.
so, Carlos, we did see all the presentations. We just took a little break for the
Exactly.
coffee, but
I'm
we were
sure you
back there.
saw us a lot on the replays going in and
Yes,
out.
yes,
We're not
yes.
partying. It was coffee.
So no, no. So yeah. So I did that, and I did a very good job. His sales increased, his traffic increased, his conversion increased, and I went to my mentor. I was like, "Hey, I hate working corporate." And my mentor was like, well, maybe you should find a niche. I saw that as an opportunity because it did really good. So I was like, wow, maybe this is my calling. And I dropped
Yeah.
everything. I went to work for Amazon as a delivery driver to understand more about the space. I think I showed you that
Nice.
picture where we were doing
Yeah. I
a
remember with
podcast.
the jacket.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
honestly, that was the most humbling and hardest job I've ever done in my life.
Mm.
So respect to all the delivery people out there, all the delivery humans out there. It
Yeah. It's
taught me
tough.
a lot about life. It is tough. It also taught me a lot about Amazon, how they are obsessive with customers. Obsessive. Like
Mhm.
when you went to the warehouse at that time, um, the you saw the values, and one of the first thing was like customer obsession, right? So I
Mhm.
got that from there. That's why we offer that guarantee that will modify your content if it's not working free of charge after the 30-day trial period.
Wow.
So
Wow.
that's how I got into the space. We only
Wow.
do content. We don't focus on PPC. I'll leave that up to you guys or managing accounts because I believe that you need to. If it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense. I understand that, but
Mhm.
you also need to love what you do. If I just wanted to make money, I would just stay in law school, right? Um,
Exactly.
or you would have stayed in space engineering. So
Mhm.
or rocket engineering. So I believe that you need to love what you do at least a little bit. And I actually I do love what I do. That's why I haven't dabbed
Love it.
into PPC or
Yeah.
account management.
Very nice. Very nice. I mean, thank you so much for sharing that. I think it's such a beautiful lesson because I think that happens a lot. And I think that happens to a lot of Amazon sellers. Like,
Mhm,
whenever you talk to an Amazon seller, most of us come from a background that we didn't like, we're not happy with it. And selling on Amazon was, that door that opened up the opportunity to become entrepreneur. And then from there, people take different directions. Some people become service providers, some people consultants, some people become more specialized in certain things. But that's the beauty of e-commerce. There's so many verticals you can take. And
mhm,
now, in the one that you've been specializing, which I think honestly is one of the most important things, is content. Why? Because when you doing e-commerce, right? And when you're selling something online, realistically, the person cannot touch the product, cannot feel the product. The only way you have to really communicate what the product does and the benefits and how to convince the person is through the images, right? So that's why I think they are essential. And I'm sure you get this question all the time, which is how do I make sure I have the perfect images for my product? Because there are so many elements, there are so many things that realistically you have to consider, and people struggle all the time with that. So I guess to start the conversation and start giving some actionable tips when it comes to our audience, like let's start with the main image. Like I'm sure you have done thousands of main images for all your clients, and I'm sure over the time you have identified what are some of the elements that make a main image a winner image. So tell us a little bit about what are some of those things that you always say they must be on a main image to have the highest chance of success when it comes to getting that click and eventually a sale.
I think it will depend on budget. Why?
Okay.
Because of the following. Well, first, a huge disclaimer. All I know is that I don't know anything or nothing. That was Socrates. So everything I'm saying here is just what it's
Exactly.
my
Experience.
reality.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So it's my empirical experience. It's not just reading, it's also applying to it. So yes, we've done thousands thousands of your images. And
Yeah.
it is the most important image, but that's just one little step into the whole ocean of Amazon.
Mhm.
Um, so the most important thing will be budget. Why? Because in the perfect scenario, what I would do is I would run a polling test on my
Mhm.
competitors. hero images, right?
Mm,
So that's going to cost you money. You can use Pigfu. I use Pigfu currently,
yeah,
and I've
yeah.
been friends with Justin for a very long time. And so we use Pigfu, and it's been wonderful with us. So I would run a test against my competitors, top 10 competitors, and top five competitors,
Mm-hmm,
and etc.
mm-hmm,
And I would do I would generate or create hero images based on the information I'm getting from the feedback, and also dependent on my product, I would do a targeted polling. What does that mean? That means that if you are selling to men in their mid 30s, early 40s, and that's your buyer persona, that's your avatar, I would target that specific
mm,
demographic. I would go the most deep I can. So that's why it's going to depend on your budget. So depending on your
mm-hmm,
budget, I would do that. The more information you get, the better. The hero image is one of the most important things. After the hero image to drive traffic would be the sponsor brand ads video for me. That's like the top two things that you're gonna be spending actually liquid money on. Like your cash flow is gonna
mm,
be heavily affected by it because you're running PPC on it. Unless
yeah,
you're rank number one, which is if you're
yeah.
just starting out, it's gonna be very hard. I'll be
Yeah,
honest.
of course, of course, of course.
So
Now,
most
when it
likely,
comes to the yeah, I just wanted to build on that idea of the main image because I strongly believe, like, having an understanding of your audience and all the elements, that's a very good tip because a lot of times people make an image based on the perception of what the competition is doing or what they feel like a client would like to see on an image, but they don't really do market research or like using things such as Pigbook, which is very good advice. That one's one. However, one question I have for you when it comes to main image, do you believe in the fact that when you're launching a product for the first time, you should have at least two or three options of my images for you to test? And because Amazon now allows you to also do A/B testing when it comes to my image, and maybe when you're getting started, you don't really know which one's the best image. How you navigate that? Like, do you recommend doing a lot of A/B testing when it comes to the main image?
um, like for me, I think it's the same for you. We always strive to be as best as possible and
It's
as perfect
perfect
as,
there.
and
Yeah.
that's elusive. There's no such thing as perfection.
Mm.
So I was listening to this podcast from Mark Zuckerberg, and he's like, us at Facebook, we don't wait, we just jump into the water, and then we
And figure it
base
out.
and then we just
Yeah.
figure it out. Right? We're like, oh shit, this is
Yeah.
happening. Okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
So based on that, I took that to heart. I was like, well, this dude is multi-billionaire, like a genius. Why
Hmm.
don't I apply that? Like, who am I to not apply that, right?
Hmm.
So what we do at Share Studio is that we create minimum three, depending on the budget of the client,
Okay.
minimum three up to 10.
Hmm.
Averagely is 5 and 7. That's what we
Hmm.
do at Share. And then after that, we go one step further, which is we run A/B testing against competitors. And then
Nice.
after that, based on that data, we also reamped or re-optimized our hero image. So our clients are most of our clients get at least 5 hero images. We tell them to run A/B testing on Amazon. Nobody knows Amazon better than Amazon. That's it,
Yeah,
right? You
for
can
sure.
A/B test in all the other A/B testing platforms, but we at least give them 3 or 5, and then
Nice.
we tell them and we give them all the reports so they understand. We explain what they should be doing. We don't run those tests for them. We let them run on their own, but we do give them that. So yes, I would recommend running A/B testing, and also a hero image that might help you right now in July might
It's
completely
the
change
seasonality. Yeah, as well.
completely changed, dude. It's crazy. Like I was working with a client. He sells like he's like a $2 million client a year. And we created 5 images and all of our images won against the one that he currently had. Okay. So we did that and we launched it and it actually did increase traffic by like 5-10%, which is huge when you're making that amount of
Yeah,
money.
yeah.
And after 3 months, traffic started going down. And we're like, what the
Yeah.
fuck's going on? So we told him, hey, start running A/B testing with the last hero image that you had. That hero image was
The
doing
old
better.
one.
Yeah,
The
no,
old
it was
one. Yeah.
doing better. And we're like, why? So we started studying it, and then we understood that was part of the seasonality factor or the
Hmm.
trends. Like there's so many things that could happen in the world. Maybe Taylor
Hmm.
Swift, what happened in the Super Bowl. Maybe that's a huge thing. Maybe you add something that's like Swifty, that people who are like
Exactly.
engage with to a
Creates a
certain,
connection in the subconsciousness of the people. Yeah.
and it's so interesting, man. So
Yeah.
there's no one clear direction. There are many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I feel like doing content is like you're pretty much a wizard. Like you're playing with all the mind of people, and you really need to know which emotions to touch on to create that effect. And that brings me to my next question, which is, of course, the main image is very important, but let's be honest, also what you do with the second, third, fourth, and so on image is also key, because I feel like you need to make in a way like you're telling a story, right? I mean, image is this, then you try to basically remove all the objections with the images that people may have, so they proceed and make a purchase. Now, on that sense, like, are there some advice you recommend in terms of, you need to be mindful of having this order, these elements, or realistically it's also very subjective on the type of product? Like, is there any, as they call it, gold nuggets there when it comes to that?
Yeah. There's a lot of things that we do. We analyze before we get started, and it's very interesting that per product, even industry, even category, it changes a lot. We
Hmm.
found that some products do really, really good with just technological products that showcase just like the benefits straight, and that
Hmm.
romanticize too much the product. And products that are more emotional, you can romanticize a little bit better, and it actually converts better because you're making that emotional connection. So depending on the product, I would say go straight for the kill. And if it's not for and depending on the product, you can romanticize better. So instead of saying, I don't know, let's choose AirPods. Um,
Hmm.
feel good while working out. You
Hmm.
say, hey, this will block out the sound and it will let you concentrate more on
More
the music.
technical. Yeah,
Yeah, so
exactly.
it depends. It just depends. And that's a way to tell the story, and also how you locate the images is very important. I feel like when there's a human connection, images always
Hmm.
tend to do better because you're humanizing the product. And depending on the product, I would be very careful to use Photoshop or Photoshop that's not really good quality
Mm.
because Kevin King said it in such a good way. I was at his BDSS virtual $1 billion seller summit virtual event, and he said something that really stood out. People are not buying your product, they're buying images. And I was
Hmm.
like, huh, that is so true. People
Hmm.
don't really see your product. A lot of times people modify the hero image for to tell more of the story of the product in the packaging,
Hmm.
and the packaging doesn't look nothing like that.
And
We do it
people
all the time.
sometimes don't even remember because they're not gonna go back to a listen and check sometimes,
Correct. So
Yeah.
people buy images, not products. And I didn't say that. I thought of that once. I was like, nah, man, Rafa, you can't say that. It's gotta be
Yeah, yeah.
so bad, such bad marketing.
Cheesy.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
everybody's gonna be like, they gotta send you a DM, Rafa. That's so dumb. Why
Yeah.
would you say that? Like you're trying to be a sales
Yeah,
weasel and
yeah.
all that. I was like, oh, let me not use that. But Kevin said it. I was like, wow, it really resonated. I was like, he is so right. And again, this dude has like sold like $1 billion on e-commerce. He's been selling since before I was born. So, so,
Exactly,
so like,
exactly.
so
He's the
like,
godfather.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that if that guy says it, he's pretty much 90% right.
yeah.
So he's so true on that. The other thing that I wanted to touch base is videos. I don't know if you saw already, and so, but Amazon just launched vertical video ads.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was like 2 weeks ago. I saw that. I saw
Basic. Yeah, yeah.
a
Hmm.
podcast from Amazon itself, from Amazon Advertising. So I was
Yeah.
like, wow. Dude. So this little bugger right here controls our life, right? Like, if I leave home, I bet you do the same. If you leave home and you're like 10 minutes
You
away,
panic. You panic. Yeah.
and you're like, oh my God, what was it? It's like your third arm, right? So 70+% of the traffic that goes through Amazon comes through mobile devices. So they understand the benefit of that. TikTok Shop is going crazy. You got those people, Temu, that are just advertising crazy through social media. So Amazon understands
Mhm.
that. So they're pushing more and more and more vertical. Remember when it changed from square to horizontal in
Yes.
the era? Now it's changing
Mm.
from horizontal to vertical.
The vertical.
It's slowly transitioning. Like, when was the last
Yeah.
time you actually watched TV? Honestly,
Yeah, long time. Yeah. Only
it,
Netflix and that's it, but that's not really TV. Yeah.
Exactly. So, like, what was the last? Like, you don't. This is your entertainment, and
Yeah,
even soccer games, football games. I don't know if you watch football games. I watch football games.
yeah,
So besides that, you don't really watch it. Like, it's hard. The news you get through X or through Instagram sometimes. So it's really hard. So
yeah.
that vertical video for sponsored brand ad videos, that's a game changer, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's also coming from a behavior shift that's why TikTok is taking over. Like we see this social commerce really becoming a thing, like people shopping more and more through social media. And I feel Amazon is doing these things such as vertical video because they know eventually long term they want to kind of copy what TikTok is doing, where Amazon becomes like a fusion between what Amazon is, but also that connection of content in the social media format, right? So I think it's gonna be a very interesting thing, and I feel like people are really leverage that, and use people like you that they know how to make this content can definitely make a huge impact into the conversions. Now, when it comes to content, we also saw last year the A Plus Premium became a big thing, right? Everybody was starting to go all crazy, like, yeah, A Plus Prima is the next thing. It's really lifting conversion
It's a
X
new.
percentage. Yeah, exactly, exactly. So tell me a little bit about that. Like, do you really see a huge difference between the normal A Plus and the premium one? And if so, like, what are some of the main perks maybe people can leverage? Just high level.
Yeah. So again, it's going to depend on the amount of budget that you're willing to invest into your
Hmm.
product. So if some listeners or viewers can remember, A plus premium was originally just based on invitation, and you had to pay
Exactly.
200 to 500,000 to get
It
access
was
to it.
crazy. It was
That's a lot.
like the Apple level. Apple level. Yeah.
Yes, literally. Just so I only started on Samsung,
Mm,
Energizer, like big
the big.
brands, big brands. Um, So it was just an invitation, but what I believe that happened, I'm not really sure because I'm not a high level
Mm,
CS executive at Amazon, is that
not yet.
Amazon, yeah, not yet. Um, saw all these new platforms coming out. They're like, the only way we can have loyal customers is by increasing the shopping experience. That's why they give a refund to anybody who asks for a refund. Doesn't matter what they say or ask, they'll get their.
Regardless. Yeah,
It
yeah,
doesn't because Amazon's obsessed with customer satisfaction, and it's okay. Like that's how it is, and that's how they became
yeah,
the number one.
yeah.
So based on that, it's going to depend on your level because A plus Premium offers more than 17 different type of modules. It offers a custom version for mobile. Okay,
Hmm.
so meaning that the edit that you have for your desktop is not the same edit that you should have for your mobile. You have to
Yeah.
upload twice as much, right? And you can have a video. If that's the case, I would not use the same video, or at least I would not use the same video edit in the premium A plus
Hmm.
content than in the
Hmm.
carousel or the sponsored brand ads or
Yeah.
the Amazon store. Each video placement is completely different. Imagine having a infomercial at halftime of the Super Bowl. Most likely it's not going to convert, right?
Hmm.
Imagine having, I don't know, a super short commercial at 3 a.m. in the morning. Most likely it's not going to convert. So placement is extremely important, and understand the placement is extremely important. So it's going to depend on that. But the algorithm does see it as an extra value because they're like, oh, most likely this person is going to show more things or it's going to give more value to my buyer to because remember it's always Amazon's customer. It's going to give more value to my buyers, so I'm not ranking them a little bit better. And then depending on
Hmm.
conversion, they downgrade you, upgrade you, etc. But I
Hmm.
would definitely say it's something that you should definitely consider if the budget's right. If it's you have minimum, either way, do it on your own. Just do it.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Now, I bet when it comes to content, we also saw a big revolution in terms of how people could leverage certain tools. Like we see AI entering the space very strong, but at the same time, even from experience, I strongly believe like it's still not giving the outcome it should give in terms of content. And I was curious to hear your take on this because I'm sure you get this question all the time, like how we could leverage AI, but also with like professional top photography and everything to get the best outcome. Like what is your take with AI? Do you feel it's really a, an opportunity there to do a hybrid approach, or what do you recommend if people want to leverage that as well?
This is my take right now, February
Hmm.
26th. 2024. Maybe by
Mm-hmm.
February 27th, it's not gonna be viable.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe that AI is changing the space, and the people that can get the most amount of leverage from it are sellers that are starting out, because
Mm-hmm.
it's harder for them to actually create a commercial, hiring a beautiful model, a very
Mm-hmm.
handsome model, or a beautiful kid, or whatever, or a beautiful doggy, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is. It's more
Mm-hmm.
expensive to do that, right? A
Yeah.
kid, at least for us in the studio, can cost you anywhere from $200 an
Crazy.
hour to
Mm-hmm.
500 bucks, depending on the
Mm-hmm.
model.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it just depends, but that usually converts better because, for example, if you're selling a baby product,
Yeah.
parents, unless it's like your fifth child, that's what I've heard. They don't really like. They care. They don't care
Yeah.
if
And let's
some.
be honest, most of the time they look dodgy. They look 100% real. The person has an extra finger, the shadows, everything.
So that's
Yeah.
why I feel like new sellers can leverage more. Can If you're an
Yeah.
advanced seller, can you leverage? Of course, you
Mm.
can leverage as an Amazon seller for creating content. I don't think so that much. You can
Mm-hmm.
add extra things, like for example with Adobe Firefly, you can add
Mm.
really cool things in the background, right? But
Exactly.
creating a hero image of, let's just say this is a baby bottle, and
Mm-hmm.
creating an image of a baby drinking the baby bottle. Have you seen those pictures?
Yeah.
Like, that's
Yeah.
like, no, stop. You're
Yeah.
hurting yourself really, really bad. So,
Yeah.
am I cautious for it? Yes, I am 100%. Tyler Perry, which is a amazing producer, he was investing more than $800 million in studios in ATL, and he stopped the production right now,
Mm-hmm.
to assess better because of OpenAI Sora. So, but that's just like high end filmmaking. These are people who are in that
Yeah, that's
space.
another. Yeah. Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
they are concerned or cautious, not concerned, but cautious with this, of course I am 100%. I'm just trying to leverage as much as I can for my benefit as well,
Yeah.
like we
Yeah.
should.
And
But
to be
if they,
honest,
yeah,
yeah, I think to also support your point, like even from me, from a seller perspective, like because I have tested AI as well, like right now you can't really reach the level of quality if you have proper photographer and a studio and people know how to do the editing, because as you said, like there are certain shots and certain things in the branding perspective and elements that it has to be done by a person, you see what I mean? So, and especially the high level is a must. Yeah.
if you're spending, let's just say, you're making $1 million a year on Amazon, a
Yeah.
million, which a lot of people actually do it,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you're making 10%, excuse me, 10% profit, which is 100K, right?
Hmm.
Profit in your pocket. Okay, and it takes you $10,000, which is what of that's like 10% of 100,000, right?
Hmm.
To increase your sales by 5%, you'll in 1 month you'll make that. You got
Yeah.
11 more
Exactly.
months to make more profit. So you have at least 8 months of profit from that investment that you made.
Yeah.
If it doesn't make money, it does not make sense. But it takes money
Exactly.
to make money.
Yeah. Exactly.
Does it
Exactly.
make sense?
Yeah.
So if you have the money, invest in you're selling baby products or supplements, to anything that has to do with a human being, or just a living being, plants, pets, humans, whatever it is, or that affects them in some sort of way. You need to try, let people care for it. If you buy in soil
Hmm.
for your plants, it's because you care about your plants. You wouldn't take the
Exactly.
time to soil, change the soil of your plants if you didn't care about the plant.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know?
Now, another thing I wanted to touch on in terms of content so we can start concluding is how we can leverage seasonality and special events, because I'm sure like for Mother's Day or Valentine or different occasions, you can customize your content to some extent. So when the person is shopping throughout the seasonality, yours highlights more the actual feeling or the need that they're looking on that specific period. So tell us a little bit about how, in terms of content, you can leverage that as well. Yeah.
A beautiful, beautiful, beautiful question. So one of those times that we didn't leave the presentation room of the online seller cruise to get coffee,
Hmm.
um, there was a
I remember.
presentation. Yeah, there was a presentation by Alex Mudd, and he said that people buy for Mother's Day, not even the week before, the month before. Sometimes they buy 3 months before for Mother's Day, right? So taking that into consideration, that could happen depending on your product category, all these things and
Hmm.
disclaimers. If, for example, if your product does sell, people start looking for a Mother's Day gift 3 months before for your specific product. You can do Google Trends for this most likely, or ask the public. Um, we at Share It, if it's a product that's very much dependent on seasonality, we tend to tell the client, hey, maybe we should do also this, maybe a hero image that represents something from Mother's Day, maybe one infographic of of a woman giving it, or a man, or somebody giving it to its mom, or something like
Mhm.
that. Or Valentine's Day, for example. For Valentine's Day, we definitely modify hero images. Definitely. We
Nice.
add elements,
Good.
etc. So when we do, since those are just kind of elements, and if it's a product that's like that, that's a very heavily dependent on seasonality, we modify the listing already and we deliver both. It's up to them to upload it or activate it when it's needed. But yes, 100%. Yeah.
Awesome. Very good, very good. So, Rafa, I mean, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show, and I know we are just, only talking the
But
one
just surface.
percent, 10% of the thing. It's like there's so many
Do
things really to go,
you
and it's like,
know the iceberg? Like, have you seen that?
yeah,
Like, you
we
see
are
that?
standing here, yeah, yeah, at the top. Yeah, I know, I know. That's why I'm sure we're gonna do so many more episodes. I know we have a Spanish one coming up.
Yeah, let's
So,
do the Spanish.
yes, for a Spanish community. So in the meantime, I'm sure people are very eager to explore your services and basically hire you guys to really step up the game when it comes to content and improve their conversion, which is a must on Amazon. Conversion is basically king when it comes to scaling a business. So tell us a little bit about how people can find you and also your company to explore how to work together.
Yeah, I think the most value I can give your viewers, if they're coming from you, just say that you're coming from Ecomcy, and Enzo sent you, the party animal Enzo. I'm just kidding.
The partner, you get a bottle service on me.
No, dude, honestly, if you guys, if anybody needs it, we can do a free audit content and
Nice.
give you ideas. No, we're not really gonna require a payment, or we're not gonna charge you a consultation fee, but I think it brings a lot of value. I'll give you one example. I was somebody that sells supplements to help with kidney stones. And
Mm,
he asked me, that's a very interesting supplement, but it's
very
very,
niche.
yes,
Yeah.
but very delicate, right? Because in Amazon, as you know, anything that has to do with pain,
And if you
medicine,
do a
whatever,
claim and all of
yeah,
that, it's a pain.
ooh, you get
Yeah.
scratched, get out of here,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
hard. So he was asking, dude, I haven't been able to run a sponsored brand ads video because everything that I do, Amazon says
Takes down.
no,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
I was like, this is like literally in 2 minutes. And I'm not saying because I'm a genius, or I'm not.
Mm,
All that I know
mm.
is that I do not know anything, right? Or nothing.
Exactly.
So, but I came with the idea that, hey, why don't you just show your bottle, right? Let's just say this is the bottle. Why don't you just show your bottle, show a stone, okay, and go like, oh, it hurts, and throw it away. You're not saying anything. You're just saying that you're throwing away stones with your
The
kidney.
feeling.
That's
Hmm.
it, right? And he was like, oh my God, thank you so much,
Mm,
blah, blah, blah. We ended up doing business together. That being said, if you guys have any problems with your content, or just want our advice, book a quick call. You can find me at shareitstudio.com, like it says right here.
yeah.
Share
I'm
it
gonna put in
studio.
the description for all of you guys to find as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll jump in with, or my team will jump in with you, and we'll give you some advice for free, 15 minutes for completely for free of our time and
Nice.
expertise. And if you guys want to do business with us, great. If you just want us to consult you, and we'll charge you like a basic setup fee, great. If not, it's okay as well. At some point,
Yeah.
if our ideas worked for you guys, at some point you're gonna come back. Because
Exactly.
that's how you give value, right? Jab,
Exactly.
jab, right
Value,
hook.
value, value. Hook.
Yes, that's it. So that's it, man.
Awesome, Rafa. So thank you so much. I'm gonna see you in a few days in Vegas, which I'm scared about. But
Probably
it's
I'm so sorry, good. Awesome.
but a pleasure to have you on the show, bro. Yeah. Thank you for coming. See you soon.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Appreciate
Take
you,
care.
man.
Bye bye.
Bye.